XRP has been in a consolidation now for quite some time. So is it time for a breakout? Well, we're gonna check some scenarios out to see if it is. So here is the main count. This is looking for an A, B, C into a W, X, and then a finishing wave Y as a triangle. But before we just buy into this, that this is an impulse down, we need to be aware of the count that is needed in order to have this as the highest probability. So this is the count in a bit of a zoomed in kind of fashion. So here we have 1, 2, 3, but why don't we use and put the 4 here? Well, if we put the 4 here, you need to count an impulse in wave 5 here, and that is pretty much impossible. So if you were to count this as a 1, you would have a flat here which hits the 1.618, which is not preferred at all, it's almost an invalidation. And then you need to have an impulse of like 1, 2, and this needs to be a 3. And then we have 4 here and wave 5. But wave 3 here you can see is very short, and you need to fit an impulse here as well. And then you can see that 1, 2, 3, and wave 4 here has overlap with presumably wave 2. So we need to put wave 2 here, and then we need to have a correction here. And if we have a correction here, then we need to have a wave 3, 4, and wave 5 here, which doesn't count well at all. It hits all the criteria for not being a clean impulse. It's not invalidation, but it's a strong guideline that wave 4 should not enter wave 2's price territory. It's a guideline in the book. So, and also the flat. So if you were to count a flat like here, you can see that we hit the 1.618 on multiple occasions. Like if we were to put it like this, you can see here we hit the 1.618. So that says A, B, C. That isn't possible basically, because this is such an unusual target for wave B. It's almost an invalidation, as I said. So it's very difficult to give this the highest probability count, counting an impulse down here. But we don't really have that much choice either. So in order for this to work, we need to put the 4 here and have a finishing wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So this is the explanation of this count. So if we were to accept this as an impulse, then we have a few different scenarios. So here we have a wave A, B, C, as I mentioned, W, X, and if wave W is a zigzag, then wave Y can't be a zigzag. It needs to be a triangle or a flat if we were to count it as a sideways correction. So this is bullish because this is correcting this high. So after this we're looking for more upside. Here is basically the same count, but we are taking a little bit longer. So here we have an A, B, C to W, same as before, but now W, X, Y into an X, and now we are looking for a Y to finish this. And if we were to count it like this, you can see that we didn't hit the 70, which is not invalidation, but it decreases the chances that this will be a deep zigzag. And if we didn't hit it, then the deep zigzag scenario is still on. So this can take us down to much lower levels, basically. But after that, we are going up and taking out this because this is a correction. Here we are counting this as a triangle. We need to count this as a wave A, B, and a wave C. So this needs to be an impulse. And this also needs to be an impulse, which is quite a challenge to count. Because this, if you just look at it, you can see that this looks like a 3-wave structure. And if you go into depth, it's near impossible. You need to force a count for this to work. And you can also see that the ratios here are way off. You see that wave D is extremely small compared to C, and E compared to A and B and all that. So this doesn't really have the highest probability. And after this, you're looking for upside. So this needs to be an impulse up. And this is 3-wave. It's screaming 3-wave all over it. But it could be a diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we have a retracement. But it's a diagonal when we are finished with it and get a retracement. Then we can more safely say it was a diagonal. So then we're looking for more upside after we get the 3-wave retracement. This is a possible double zigzag, A, B, C, W, X, as we mentioned before, and correction down. So this is more like just waiting to see how the X wave turns out, basically. And we have a few different bearish scenarios as well. So this scenario is counting this as an impulse down, 1, 2, and here we have a leading diagonal, which is an uncommon structure, 1, 2, and now we are looking for as well a 1, 2 down here in a lower degree. But this doesn't count well as an impulse, as I just mentioned. So yeah, this doesn't really have the highest probability because we can't really count. We need to force an impulse down here for this to be a valid count. But nonetheless, if we take out this at 3.3836, if we take out this high, then this bearish scenario, it doesn't really have any probabilities left, because then we need to put wave 2 over here. And if we look at the time then for wave 2, I mean, a wave 2 over 400 is incredibly rare. So even if we hit 500, it's almost unheard of to have a wave 2 that long. So then we are looking at something else. So yeah, and then we have the other scenario here with a longer wave 2, 1, 2, 1, W, X, Y to a 2, and now looking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this has a bit higher probability, since this move down is a bit more corrective in nature, and this move up is also a bit corrective in nature. So here we are looking for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, much lower prices. So this has also the same invalidation. If we take out this high, and especially if we are taking out that high after 5 or even 6, then the bears doesn't have any options left. So yeah, what does this mean? What has the highest probability? It means that we really don't know yet, but nothing really stands out at being the most probable scenario, because this count is very ugly as an impulse, and this count is very ugly as a triangle, and this isn't pretty as an impulse. So we need to look at this structure. Is it an impulse? Is it developing to an impulse, meaning a diagonal, if we were to count it from here? Is it a diagonal? And check the retrace. Is it a 3-wave? Then the possibilities of we are moving up and taking out the high is very likely, because we have been in a consolidation for quite some time now. So then we have more evidence that we are basically moving up. And if we are taking out this high, then the probabilities of moving up and taking out the high here is extremely high. So that was it for today. Hope you have a good day.